Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 22. Schedule incarnations with specific functions. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're at Tower Bridge.
In case you didn't know.
Can they see it?
I hope so, yeah.
All right, text 22. When the ruling administrators who are known as the Kshatriyas turned astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell, the Lord, in his incarnation as the sage Parashuram, uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the thorns of the earth. Thus he thrice seven times.
21.
No, I was going to say that. Uprooted the Kshatriyas with his keenly sharpened chopper. Purport. The Kshatriyas, or the ruling administrators of any part of the universe, either on this planet or on other planets, are factually the representatives of the Almighty Personality of Godhead, and they are meant to lend the subjects to lead the subjects towards the path of God realization. Every state and its administrators, regardless of the nature of the administration, monarchy or democracy, oligarchy or dictatorship or autocracy, have the prime responsibility to lead the citizens toward God realization. This is essential for all human beings, and it is the duty of the Father, spiritual master, and ultimately the state to take up the responsibility of leading the citizens towards this end. The whole creational material existence is made for this purpose, just to give a chance to the fallen souls who rebelled against the will of the Supreme Father and thus became conditioned by material nature. The force of material nature gradually leads one to a hellish condition of perpetual pains and miseries. Persons going against the prescribed rules and regulations for those in conditional life are called Brahmojita Patas, or those going against the path of the absolute truth, and they are liable to be punished. Lord Parashuram, an incarnation of the personality of Godhead, appeared during such a state of worldly affairs and killed all the miscreant kings 21 times. Many Kshatriya kings fled from India to other parts of the world at that time, and according to the authority of the Mahabharata, the kings of Egypt originally migrated from India because of Parashuram's program of chastise them. And that's interesting in terms of their beliefs as well, you know, the afterlife and this and that. It's
many similar things.
Yeah. The kings or administrators are similarly chastised in all circumstances whenever they become godless and plan a godless civilization. That is the order of the Almighty.
Text 23. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshwaku as the lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharat, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. Purport. Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his brothers, namely Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrugna, are his plenary expansions. All 4 brothers are Vishnu Tattva and were never ordinary human beings. There are many unscrupulous and ignorant commentaries on the Ramayana who present the younger brothers of Lord Ramachandra as ordinary living entities. But here, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scriptures on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were his plenary expansions. Originally, Lord Ramachandra, in his incarnation of Vasudeva, Lakshman is the incarnation of Sankarshan, Bharat is the incarnation of Pradyumna, and Shatrugna is the incarnation of Aniruddha, expansions of the personality of Godhead. Lakshmi Ji, Sita, is the internal potency of the Lord and is neither an ordinary woman nor the external potency incarnation of Durga. Durga is the external potency of the Lord, and she is associated with Lord Shiva.
As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7, the Lord appears when there are discrepancies in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramachandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brothers and his internal potency Lakshmi Ji, Sita Ji.
Lord Ramchandra was ordered by his father, Maharaj Dasharat, to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances, and the Lord, as the ideal son of his father, carried out the order even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sitaji, desired to go with him.
Right, Babaji.
Mataji. The Lord agreed to both of them, and altogether they entered the Dandakaranya forest, both to live there for 14 years. During their stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramachandra and Ravan, and the latter kidnapped the Lord's wife, Sita. The quarrel ended in the vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravan, along with all his kingdom and family.
Sita is Lakshmiji, or the goddess of fortune, but she's never to be enjoyed by any living being. She's meant for being worshipped by the living being along with her husband, Sri Ramachandra. A materialistic man like Ravan does not understand this great truth, but on the contrary, he wants to snatch Sita Devi from the custody of Ram, and thus incurs great miseries. The materialists who are after opulence and material prosperity may take lessons from the Ramayana that the policy of exploiting the nature of the Lord without acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord is the policy of Ravan. Ravan was very advanced materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom Lanka into pure gold or full material wealth. But because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramachandra and defied him by stealing his wife Sita, Ravan was killed and all his opulence and power were destroyed.
Lord Ramchandra is a full incarnation with 6 opulences in full, and he is therefore mentioned in this verse as Kalesha, or master of all opulence. Wonderful summary of the Ramayana there, and just great verse. So early on in the second canto. I'm gonna have to put my hands in my pocket. She's got gloves and I don't.
Oh Lord! All right, text 24. Should we make it the last one?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because this is an austerity we are not equipped for. The personality of Godhead Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravan with red-hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, aquatics like the sharks, snakes and crocodiles, were being burnt by the heat of the angry, red-hot eyes of the Lord. Purport. The personality of Godhead has every sentiment of a sentient being, like all other living beings, because he is a chief and original living entity, the supreme source of all other living beings. He is the Nitya, or the chief eternal amongst all other eternals. He is the chief one, and all others are the dependent many. The many eternals are supported by the one eternal, and thus both the eternals are qualitatively one. Due to such oneness, both the eternals constitutionally have a complete range of sentiments, but the difference is that the sentiments of the chief eternal are different in quantity from the sentiments of the dependent eternals. When Ramachandra was angry and showed his red-hot eyes, the whole ocean became heated with their energy, so much so that the aquatics within the great ocean felt the heat, and the personified ocean trembled in fear and offered the Lord an easy path for reaching the enemy's city.
The impersonalists will see havoc in this red-hot sentiment of the Lord because they want to see negation and perfection. Because the Lord is absolute, the impersonalists imagine that in the absolute sentiment of anger, which resembles a mundane sentiment, must be conspicuous by its absence. So that means basically if you're actually perfect, then you wouldn't exhibit sentiments like anger and pain and sorrow and things like that. Whereas basically the Bhagavatam is clarifying that those things all exist in perfection in the Lord, and when performed or utilized in relationship with the Lord, then they're perfect. They're not to be denied or kind of negated, as the word is being said here. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, they do not realize that every sentiment of the absolute person is transcendental to all mundane concepts of quality and quantity. Had Lord Ramchandra's sentiment been of mundane origin, how could it disturb the whole ocean and its inhabitants? Can any mundane red hot eye generate heat in the great ocean? These are factors to be distinguished in terms of the personal and impersonal conceptions of the absolute truth. As it is said in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is the source of everything, Janmad Yasya Yataha. So the absolute person cannot be devoid of the sentiments that are reflected in the temporary mundane world. Rather, the different sentiments found in the absolute, either in anger or in mercy, have the same qualitative influence, or, in other words, there is no mundane difference of value because these sentiments are all on the absolute plane. Perfect, wonderful. Such sentiments are definitely not absent in the absolute, as the impersonalists think, making their mundane estimation of the transcendental world.
Jai, Haribo, Jai,
Okay,
Hari,
so
Hari.
today is New Year's Eve
Yes.
in the Western world,
Yes, yes.
and so we'd like to wish you all a wonderful New Year's Day. May 2021 help us to move forward from 2020, which has been a challenging year, and may 2021 help us to reap the harvest of the fruits of things that we've learned in 2020 by facing such intense challenges, and hopefully 2020 has helped to open us up in ways spiritually that we were maybe not open before, and may 2021 really show us how to make progress and advance in this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are some thoughts. Anything from your side?
I agree. Hare Krishna.
All right, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much. Srila
Spread
Prabhupada
out.
Ki Jai.
Jai, Jai.